There is a story meticulously crafted by culture, broadcast through our media, and echoed in our most casual conversations. It is the story of masculine success, which dictates that as a man accumulates wealth, status, and influence, his desire naturally gravitates towards youth. A younger woman becomes the ultimate symbol of his achievement, a testament to his vitality and power. This narrative is presented as an unassailable truth, a biological and social imperative. We are taught that men who have reached the apex of their lives seek a partner who stands at the beginning of hers, a blank canvas upon which the masterpiece of a shared future can be painted. This belief is so deeply embedded in our collective psyche that it has become the default script for attraction, a predictable conclusion to the tale of a successful man. But what if this script is fundamentally flawed? What if this celebrated truth is merely a shallow reflection in a distorted mirror, showing us a reality that is simplistic and incomplete? Consider for a moment, what if the man of genuine substance, one who has engaged in the profound inner work of building character and wisdom, is not searching for a blank canvas at all? What if, instead, he seeks a soul that is already a rich and complex tapestry, woven with the threads of experience, resilience, and self-knowledge? This singular question has the power to dismantle our most cherished assumptions about desire. It invites you to step beyond the glaringly obvious and into the subtle, powerful currents of psychological attraction, where the greatest connections are forged in the depths of mutual recognition, not in the shallows of societal expectation. This exploration you are about to undertake promises a more nuanced and ultimately more satisfying understanding of human connection. It is a journey into the hidden architecture of desire, guided by the timeless insights of depth psychology. We will uncover why a woman's accumulated life, her fully realized presence, becomes an irresistible force for a man who is equally complete. It is an attraction based not on a dynamic of need and provision, but on the resonant frequency of two whole souls meeting. You are about to discover the truth that has remained unspoken, not because it is a grand conspiracy, but because our culture has been collectively unwilling to look beyond the surface. Prepare to have your perspective altered, for what you are about to hear may validate a feeling you have long held but could not name. To truly grasp this profound preference, we must move beyond the marketplace of physical attributes and enter the temple of the psyche. In this sacred inner space, a person is never just a body. They are an embodiment of archetypal forces. Society venerates the archetype of the maiden, youthful, fertile, and brimming with unshaped potential. She represents the dawn, the promise of a new beginning. This is an easy archetype to celebrate, for it is straightforward and serves a simple biological and social narrative. However, for the man who has undertaken his own heroic journey of self-development, who has wrestled with his own inner dragons, the allure of pure, unformed potential begins to fade. He is no longer a prince seeking a princess to awaken. He is a king seeking a queen to rule alongside him, a partner who already knows the weight and wisdom of her own crown. Carl Jung would argue that a man's journey towards wholeness, which he termed individuation, involves the conscious integration of his inner feminine aspect, the anima. The anima matures within him over time, evolving from a primitive, instinctual figure into a sophisticated vessel of wisdom, creativity, and spiritual depth. A man of true value, therefore, is unconsciously seeking a woman in the outer world who mirrors the advanced stage of his own inner development. The older woman frequently embodies this fully realized anima. She is not a mere reflection of his nascent potential, but a living testament to the qualities he has worked so hard to cultivate within himself: resilience, emotional intelligence, and a deep understanding of life's complexities. Their connection becomes a sacred dialogue between two fully developed souls. This attraction is, therefore, not about the passage of time itself, but about the treasure that time can yield: a profound and quiet self-possession. An older woman has often navigated the tumultuous seas of her own inner world. She has weathered storms of heartbreak, celebrated seasons of joy, and, most importantly, has begun the crucial work of integrating her own shadow, that part of the self, as Jung believed, that contains our hidden fears and strengths. This alchemical process forges a serene confidence, a steady inner light that is profoundly magnetic to a man who is secure in his own being. He is not looking for a follower to validate his path, but for a fellow sovereign who can walk her own path beside his, their combined light illuminating the way forward for them both. The common societal view often reduces this dynamic to a simplistic and dismissive cliché. The man is merely seeking a mother figure. This interpretation is a profound misreading of the psychological forces at play. It is not an absence of youthful fire that he seeks, but the presence of a different kind of flame. Not the wild, untamed bonfire of potential, but the steady, enduring hearth of a soul that has learned to tend its own warmth. He is not searching for a maternal energy to comfort the boy he once was, but for the energy of a sovereign partner to meet the man he has become. The distinction is paramount. A mother nurtures dependence. A sovereign partner fosters mutual growth. The connection is one of equals, grounded in admiration for each other's established inner worlds. This preference is fundamentally a search for a richer dialogue. A man who has dedicated his life to building substance, whether intellectually, emotionally, or spiritually, yearns for a partner who can meet him at that depth. With an older woman, the conversations often transcend the superficial. The silences are filled with a comfortable understanding, and the intimacy is built upon a foundation of shared life wisdom. He does not need to translate the complex language of his inner world, for she has become fluent in her own. She comprehends the nuances of his journey, not with abstract sympathy, but with the deep empathy of a fellow traveler who bears her own sacred maps and scars. This creates a bond that is not just romantic, but profoundly resilient and truly supportive. You can think of this as the difference between reading the blurb of a book and discussing its entire intricate plot with someone who has not only read it, but has also written their own novel. The exhaustive posturing and the insecure games that often mark the early stages of dating are replaced by a refreshing authenticity. In their place is a directness and an honesty that is incredibly liberating for a man who has grown weary of performance. Their relationship is constructed not on the shifting sands of what could be, but on the solid ground of what already is. They are not two fragmented halves seeking to become one, but two complete worlds choosing to create a new, shared universe together, a cosmos built from two distinct and equally radiant suns. Choosing a path that diverges from the well-trodden road of social convention inevitably invites scrutiny and misunderstanding. It requires a quiet courage to withstand the tide of collective opinion. The man who openly chooses an older partner often finds his motivations dissected and his character judged by those who can only interpret the world through a conventional lens. He may be labeled as seeking a dominant figure or as being intimidated by the energy of youth. These external judgments are a manifestation of the collective shadow, as Jung might describe it, the projection of society's own unexamined biases onto any relationship that dares to challenge its norms. The first and most significant challenge is to remain anchored in your own truth while the winds of external opinion howl around you. For the woman in this dynamic, the journey can be just as demanding. She must contend with a culture that relentlessly tells her that her desirability is a finite resource, inextricably tied to the dewiness of her youth. She might face the subtle, painful implication that she is a safe or convenient choice, rather than a passionate and deliberate one. This external invalidation can awaken her own internalized fears, creating a painful gap between her own powerful sense of self and the diminished reflection she is shown by a world fixated on the superficial. It is a lonely and arduous process to build an inner fortress of self-worth so strong that these external arrows of judgment can no longer find their mark, a true test of her spirit. This shared experience of navigating societal disapproval is a form of what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming your authentic self, distinct from the collective herd. It forces both partners to consciously define their own values, rather than unconsciously absorbing the values of the culture around them. You may feel, if you are on this path, a sense of anguish or a feeling of not belonging. as if you are trying to describe a beautiful color to people who can only see in black and white. It is in these moments of perceived isolation that the true strength of the connection is tempered. The couple must turn towards each other for the recognition and validation that the outside world is often unwilling to provide, creating a unique and unbreakable bond. The discomfort felt when defying these social norms is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a signal that something profoundly right is beginning to happen. It marks a crucial departure from the collective unconscious, that inherited set of archetypes and beliefs that quietly governs so much of human behavior. Choosing a partner based on a deep soul-level resonance rather than a pre-approved social script is a revolutionary act of individuation. It declares that your desires are no longer being dictated by the expectations of the tribe, but are instead emerging from the authentic core of your own being. You are consciously moving away from a life lived by borrowed principles and stepping into one that is uniquely and powerfully your own, a true expression of your individual spirit. This transition requires an immense amount of introspection. It demands a willingness to dismantle the ego's deep-seated need for social approval and status. For the man, this means letting go of the culturally ingrained impulse to display a partner as a trophy of his virility, and instead honoring his soul's more profound yearning for a genuine counterpart. For the woman, it involves a radical refusal to accept the cultural expiration date placed upon her desirability, and to instead inhabit the full authority of her wisdom and lived experience. If you find this path speaks to you, consider sharing this video with others who you believe are also seeking a more conscious dialogue about connection. This is how we begin to shift the narrative together, creating more space for authenticity in a world that often demands conformity. This evolution of desire is akin to developing a more sophisticated palate. While many remain satisfied with the simple, sugary tastes of conventional attraction, you begin to crave something with more complexity, nuance, and depth. You start to value the qualities that are invisible to the uninitiated eye: emotional sobriety, quiet resilience, and a sense of humor that has been earned through navigating life's many absurdities. This fundamental shift is a hallmark of true psychological maturity. It is the intelligence of the soul gently but firmly overriding the simplistic programming of the ego. It does not mean one form of desire is inherently better, but that they belong to different stages of our human development. To embark on this path is to graduate to a more advanced and fulfilling form of relating. Out of the crucible of these challenges, a profound transformation is born. The woman who refuses to be defined by her age undergoes a quiet, powerful enthronement. She ceases to seek her value in the fleeting reflection of another's gaze or in the fickle applause of a youth-obsessed culture. Instead, she anchors her sense of self in the unshakable bedrock of her own being, in the rich, fertile ground of her lived experience. She is no longer a garden waiting for a benevolent gardener to arrive. She has become the entire self-sustaining ecosystem, wild, magnificent, and complete. This is the pivotal moment she transcends the very need for external validation. Her life force is no longer directed outwards in search of completion, but inwards, cultivating the beautiful kingdom of her own soul. This inner sovereignty is precisely what makes her so intensely magnetic. A man of true substance is not drawn to an emptiness he is expected to fill, but to a fullness that inspires and resonates with his own. When a woman becomes her own source of illumination, she does not need a man to rescue her from the darkness. She invites him to stand with her in the radiant light she has already created. She is not auditioning for the role of a damsel in distress. She is a queen seeking an equal alliance. To a world that often profits from female insecurity, this self-possessed energy is revolutionary. What has been your experience with this? Share your reflections in the comments below. Your insights are a valuable part of this crucial conversation. She becomes, in the most powerful sense of the word, dangerous. She is dangerous to the status quo, to the fragile male ego, and to the superficial contracts that govern so many relationships. She is dangerous because she cannot be easily controlled by the conventional levers of praise or shame. Her happiness is not a project for him to manage, and her sense of stability is not contingent upon his presence. This fierce independence is the ultimate attraction for a man who is not an insecure boy seeking to control, but a secure king who is seeking a fellow monarch. He does not desire a subject to rule over. He yearns for an equal with whom he can build a true empire of meaning, trust, and profound mutual respect. So, as this exploration concludes, where do you find yourself standing? Does this perspective illuminate a quiet truth within you, a feeling you have long sensed but perhaps could not articulate? Or does it challenge the very foundations of what you have been conditioned to believe about desire, value, and the passage of time? These questions are not meant to be answered quickly. They are meant to linger, to act as keys to unlock deeper chambers of self-awareness. They are a gentle but firm invitation to examine the invisible scripts that have been directing the story of your life and your connections. What unspoken beliefs have been shaping your choices, your attractions, and your own sense of worth? This journey into the heart of authentic attraction is ultimately a personal one, but its echoes are universal. If you wish to continue delving into the profound truths that lie just beneath the surface of our daily lives, consider subscribing to this channel. We are committed to exploring the vital intersections of psychology, philosophy, and the human spirit, offering insights to empower you on your own unique path of growth. By joining this community, you support the creation of content that dares to question, to go deeper, and to foster a more conscious and meaningful way of living. Your presence here is what makes this conversation possible, and for that, we are profoundly grateful. Remember this above all else. You are not flawed for wanting a connection that transcends the superficial. You are not strange for being drawn to depth over display, to substance over surface. The feelings of isolation or confusion that may arise when you walk this less traveled path are not signs of weakness, but evidence of a profound awakening. You are beginning to attune your ear to the subtle, persistent frequency of your own soul, which is gently guiding you away from the noisy, crowded marketplace of social expectation and towards the quiet, sacred temple of your own inner truth. Trust that guidance, honor that journey. You are not alone, you are awakening.